Hello, everyone. Welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. Got some tea here. Not feeling too great. Hopefully, it's not Corona. I'm really hoping it's not. I have a hookah, so I think like that made my throat sore. But I got the tea on deck just in case. Anyway, before this review starts, I really have something important I want to talk about and get out. First of all, if you are here from my Facebook page, from my original channel, I just want to take this moment, this opportunity to say thank you so much. It means a lot to me that anyone would like me enough and enjoy my content enough to actively follow me, to actively look for me, to actively worry about me. Thank you to the person that when my page first went down, they contacted me on Facebook to see if everything was all right with me, to offer me any help. You have no idea what that meant to know that someone on the internet that I've only met in videos, legitimately cared about me and state of my channel. So thank you very much. For those of you that have no clue what I'm talking about, that just showed up here, that's like, where the fuck is the One Piece review? One second. I just really need to talk about this and get this. So, about 2 3 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I woke up to be informed that my original Otaku Talk OD channel had been removed from YouTube. Basically, was deleted, suspended, disabled, whatever you want to call it. I got over like 15, 20 copyright strikes by Sue. I want to make it very clear that I did nothing wrong, that I followed fair use to a T. You guys seen my videos. I do clips and pages from the manga, but I try to limit them as much as possible. I try to only use them when they are relevant, and I still try to work within the confines of fair use. If you guys are familiar with another very popular, very big time YouTuber, Fully Not Mark, something similar happened to him recently where Toei, not Sueisha, the anime side of One Piece, flagged about 150 of his videos and got them all taken down. However, of course, I think it's because he's a bigger YouTuber. They didn't destroy his channel like they did mine. They just got rid of the uh, videos, which still sucks. I think he said it's tantamount to about 3 years of his work, and it would take like 30 years of appealing to get it back. So that sucks for him. But because he is a big YouTuber, he is going to get the support and encouragement from numerous people. I unfortunately not. I will be forgotten in this. Um, Honestly, I only had a couple hundred subscribers. In my opinion, even though I was passionate about this, my content was nowhere on the level of someone like Totally Not Mark. Even though my dream is to attain that quality someday, but I'm just realistic and no, I'm not there yet. But I still strive for. So if you're watching this for the first time or you're following me from other channel, once again, just thank you. Do me a favor. I say this in all my videos, but like I need it now more than ever. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do everything in your power to help me start, collecting subscribers again. I put in a lot of work over the last year or so. Last year I took this very seriously. My first year I was just kind of, dipping my toe in the pool, but I've been going really hard at this for the last year and it sucks that I have to start over. So any help or contribution you guys can send my way, I would very much appreciate. Um I hate to ask this, if you guys can go as far as, contact Toei. I'm not big enough to say boy, they provide too much for people and they have been ripped off before. But if like they can respect the fair use that we have in place, it would mean the world to me because not only did I lose my channel, my Otaku Talk OD channel that I've been working very hard on, I lost every single channel listed under my YouTube. other channel called Blunt Honesty, where I do social, political, just um, everyday conversation. I only had one episode of that, but I had planned to follow up on that later. That's gone. My personal YouTube, all my likes and the algorithm catered to me, gone. My League of Otaku one that I had for future plans, where I plan to have guests. And, when I become big and I start having guest stars and friends on, it was gonna be like an anime talk show with multiple people. That's gone. I didn't even get to post any videos on that. So it's a tremendously unfair situation, but I'm hoping that with the likes of people like Totally Not Mark, people are going to start to care a little bit more and start acting on it. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I have to figure out where I'm going from here. I'm stubborn and obstinate, so I'm not going to stop using manga scans. I'm going to hold back in how many I do use, and I'm going to make sure without out that I am covered by fair use, which I did before, but still, I'm going to see how this goes and see how long this channel goes. And if it happens again, it happens again. But um, I didn't do anything wrong, and by that, I live by that. And anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Today, we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1035 of One Piece. And this was a tremendous chapter. Cannot wait to get into all the intricacies and things I loved and some of the things I didn't quite like so much. And anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the review. All right, everyone. Chapter 1035 of One Piece, Zoro versus King. Very happy it's right after Queen versus Sanji. So it looks like we're going in order. And, one can kind of assume that maybe after this, we're going to get maybe the final fight between Luffy versus Kaido. We still kind of had that like dangling thread with Big Mom versus Kid and Law. So I'm kind of curious as to where Oda's planning to fit that in. If maybe he's going to showcase a little bit of what's that dude's name, Orochi versus Hiyori. So there's a lot still left to do. This has obviously been one of the not one of the biggest arc in all of One Piece, and it does need to come to an end soon. However, Oda did kind of, I don't want to say wrote himself into a corner, because that has a negative connotation of like things aren't panning out well. They're panning out pretty well. It's just he has made a lot of promises. When it comes to the writing, there's promises and then fulfillment of those, or like execution. And I'm just at this moment like, dang, bro, you have so many promises that are left to fulfill, and I'm wondering if you're gonna do that with SBS's story. If you do that in the story, if you're gonna have time. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. Let me just get into the chapter. First of all, something I'm very excited about, if you guys follow me, we are finally back. We have our first cover story in forever. In forever. And so I'm super hype about that. You guys know I love my cover stories. The fan art is cool. Do not get me wrong. It is super cool. But the thing that really gets me super happy is cover stories and just knowing more about One Piece and seeing the behind the scenes of One Piece. And it's just an additional thing that makes that realism of One Piece pop out. You know what I mean? It's just, the one thing I love about One Piece is it's a organic story where like no matter if we're following the main characters, we just know that there are and things happening within the world of One Piece behind the scenes that we can kind of accurately speculate on, given all the information in both the story and the cover page. So in this cover page, we have Germa 66, Sanji's family escaping from Whole Cake Island, which is a dope cover story, which answers a bunch of questions we had, which kind of more or less tells us that, okay, Sanji's family was able to get away. Okay, maybe Sanji's family will be relevant later on in the rest of this. and I like kind of the timing that Oda decided to like showcase this, because I think he did it with the intent of, with the Sanji and Queen fight wrapping up. I think that now that Sanji has confronted his fears, confronted his upbringing, conquered his brothers in a way. Like I forgot what YouTuber said this, but in a way, it's kind of showcased that Sanji can defeat every one of his siblings. So now that that's been established and like he's overcome his family, it's nice to know that okay, his family is safe and there is potential for them to be relevant again in Dope cover story. Anyway, we start off the chapter with King. I'm sorry, not King. Queen flying out of Onigashima Castle, right? Kaido Castle. And I just want to say I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. Um, Off the top of my head, I felt unfulfilled. I felt similar to how I felt with the Topi Rappa, except a little worse. I feel like these we didn't get enough of these fights fleshed out. And then I thought to myself, is that truly fair? I feel like we have gotten these we have gotten numerous chapters of Queen versus Sanji, Zoro versus King, but I feel like this I don't want to say stakes, but the tension hadn't had enough time to build up because we were constantly switching back and forth between storylines, and we didn't get that full on feeling of an actual fight. I asked myself, all right, Odera, OD, what did you want in this fight? And I'm like, I wanted more named attacks. And in the Queen fight, Queen was sending out a lot of named attacks. I can't ask for much there. We saw a lot of named attacks. We saw a lot of techniques. We saw him turn himself into a freaking snake. We saw him utilize, Sanji siblings techniques. So I would be lying if I said that Queen didn't showcase a lot of stuff. It's just that I don't know what I was looking for specifically, but what I got isn't exactly what I want. Now, does that make what happened bad? No, just to me personally, I'm not too enthused. I really wanted just a dedicated chapter of back and forth, where like Queen isn't joking as much. But once again, this is One Piece. There are many fights where you know the villain is messing around with his prey, and it comes to bite them in the ass. I was looking for a situation like Ennis Lobby, where we have the entire crew get to showcase their abilities, where by the end of it, almost all of them are down and out, and they need like the people they brought with them, the people there to save them and her and help them out because they've expended all their energy, and now the people there feel like okay, they've done their part. The least we can do is make sure they're alive, get them to their ship, hide them, etc., etc. That's kind of what I was looking forward to. And with San with the Sanji fight, we get a moment where okay, we're kind of struggling. This is happening, that is happening. Okay, new buff, one shot with the new buff, one shot with the new technique. They leveled up and now they one shot. I was kind of hoping it was gonna be a situation where kind of similar to Rob Lucci, right? Where Luffy pulls out gear two, where Luffy pulls out gear three, and even though it really kind of fucks up Rob Lucci still doesn't just go out like that from it. He gives them a fair fight where, Luffy had to, get run away for a little bit. He had to recover and then come back and fight him. But I do feel like I am being a little bit unfair because even with Kaido, if Luffy literally beats Kaido next chapter, I would feel the same, but I should be because literally Luffy has fought this man like 4 or 5 times now. He has come back 4 or 5 times. He's had incredible moments. He's come back with with the Conqueror's hockey punches. He has been doing things this entire time. So it would be totally unfair for me to be mad, but like I don't know, just something is off about this and I feel like Oda is, maybe I'm paranoid, maybe I've been reading One Piece too much, but just something feels really, really off to me here. It just feels really off. And there's also the whole aspect of these guys are ancient Zoans. They're mythical Zoans, and we're told that Zoans have incredible recovery time. We were told, I watched the video with Mr. Morge, and I was super excited because I was happy that someone else besides me was feeling this way, that these fights have been going easily. They've been happening too fast. We haven't seen enough ability. I haven't seen enough flashbacks. I want to see more about Queen. I want to see more about King. And we just haven't had that. In the Impel Down arc, we learned that awakened Zoans, if they're given enough time, can recover from anything. So I was thinking, okay, you know, those guys weren't anything. Yeah, they were awakened, but in the grand scheme of things, they weren't that powerful. We're talking about King, we're talking about Queen, we're talking about Kaido. They probably don't need as much time to recover. In fact, they should be way stronger. We haven't seen their awakened forms. We just saw Law and Kid's awakened form. So it makes me think, hey, is it time for awakenings on top of stuff? Now that, Sanji and Zoro level up, it's time for King and Queen to get serious. They should be going, oh, damn, all right, let's do this. Well, unless, of course, you'd like to say that the thing Saki King were doing were maybe abilities of being awakened in addition to the fact that this is how ancient Tyrannodon, Brachiosaurus, Triceratops used to fight. So I, as of right now, because of how the Queen fight ended, how this chapter began, and I'll talk about what happened at the end of this chapter, I'm just going to concede and say they're down and out. I think holding on hope at this point kind of stupid and kind of obstinate. I'm not going to keep being indignant about this, but it does feel off, and I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't the end. But I am willing to accept this as the end. I've said this in my other chapter review. Maybe it's just a simple matter of Oda is going to flesh out these fights in the anime, and right now it's just let's move on with more. Which at the end of the day, can you really be upset about? Like, fights are all well and good, but we want to see Luffy, want to see the Kaido fight. We want to see the poneglyphs getting written. We want to see what happens when the Marines get here. We want to see who else joins the Straw Hats in terms of alliances as well as the so, and we want to see the rest of the Wano lore and all everything. We want to see Vegapunk. So, and we want to see Shanks make a move. There, like I said, Oda made a lot of promises, and he has to get to all of them. So we can't get caught up here, and that's just it's an unfortunate reality. But that's just part of it's the double-edged sword of being in a series as amazing as one. So anyway, Sanji is checking in on Osame. He's like, "Hey, are you actually okay?" And to which is the irony of that cracks me up because literally after that he passes out from sheer exhaustion, which makes a lot of sense because he has been fighting. He has been fighting Queen this entire time, and both of them have been faking the funk, pretending that they weren't as injured, as damaged as they were. And it was kind of good to see Sanji for once kind of collapse like that. I said in my other reviews, normally Sanji, one that finished the fight with the least damage out of the big three, that is Luffy and Zoro. Zoro are usually completely fucked up, and Sanji is like injured, but like he's still able to walk. He's still able to like do things, run, help out the rest. He looks like so then we go to Zoro versus King. And Zoro has pretty much figured out King's fighting abilities. I'll touch on that a little bit later. And we also see King's very first named attack, which I believe is called Imperial Dragon. In the actual jump translation, it makes it a little bit different, but this attack looks amazing. Sends out a fire blast in the form of a dragon, and it appears to powerful as hell. Zoro has cut off the remainder of King's mask, and we finally get to see him. I am not going to front. He has a top 10 character design. I am telling you, in popularity contest, this dude is going to probably be top 20, maybe top 30 of characters just because of how he looks. This dude looks amazing. He looks like Alucard from the Castlevania series if Alucard lifted and had and could tan. That's how I would describe this man. Dark skin, white hair, and yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. He looks a lot like a Shandian or a Shandoran, however you want to pronounce it. I like to say Shandian. And honestly, I think he may be a descendant of the original ancestors of the Shandians, similar to like how I believe Kaido to be a descendant of the original ancient giants, but he is a runt. I think it is a similar situation with King. Obviously, there is a lot to him as why the government would desperate for information on him, why they were experimenting on him in the first place. I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the series we see the culmination of their experiments on him. I can't wait to the special science group because I do think that they're going to have ability of devil fruit, Kaido's devil fruit, King's race, and stuff like that. We have to remember that they were strong enough to be confident in their decision, the warlord system. So yeah, I'm expecting a lot. Um, It would also explain why he has such large and dark wings because he clearly is something different than the Shandians. But I think there is some kind of relation there because of the tattoo on the left side of his face. Reminds me of Wiper more so than Calgara. Um, Once again, he's a Lunarian that has to do with the moon. The Sky Island people are the original inhabitants of the moon. So I really do think that there's a lot of lore and things in the background to do with this. Can't wait till we get more information on. Also, I'm curious if his skin color has something more along his race or because he's constantly making fire, that darkened his skin alone, kind of like that joke. In all seriousness, that joke I made about Alucard, maybe it's a serious application of constantly being fire. It darkens. I don't know. I'm curious. Also, it's always nice to have a dark skin. So Zoro and King decide to wrap things up in this fight, and Zoro reveals that he's pretty much at his limit. Honestly, that's kind of dumb to me. Why would you reveal to the enemy that, hey, I'm on my last legs. This is going to be my last move. But honestly, it goes pretty much as expected. King even retorts that his limit too, which is also nice to hear that, Zoro has actually been damaging him similar to the Queen King fight, similar to how I imagine the Kaido fight to be going, where everyone involved is actually hurt. They're just posturing at this point. So it does make it a lot more believable that, all these people would be with a really great attack. But like I said, there's just something nagging at me in the back of my head that just something just is not sitting right with how easily going. Once again, I just really want everyone to show that. I'm super disappointed Nami and Usopp haven't had their moments. Jinbei, I'm half and half because I know Jinbei is super strong. This man was a warlord for crying out loud, but also at the same time, I expected more from who. The Toby Rappo were really, really hyped up for what we got. Even who said he was a rival Rob Lucci. But what does that mean? Because when we uh, Luffy already beat Rob Lucci way prior to hockey, so like we don't know where he is as of right now. If they're still on par, there was a time and place where Moria was on par with Kaido. So saying someone is on par with someone doesn't really. But I digress. You guys get my point. Where was I? Anyway, King proceeds to tell Zoro that he will make Kaido the Pirate King, and Zoro tells him that they've had their time on the top and it's in the Straw Hat crew to take over. So I thought that was super cool. King is getting his "I'm the right hand of the Pirate King" moment. Zoro's getting his "Nah, I'm the right hand of the Pirate King, and we're gonna shut you down." No, and honestly, I kind of feel like you guys have had all the time in the world to be Pirate King. Like, you guys have to realize that the Straw Hat crew in the grand scheme of the story and like their adventure or whatnot are relatively young. It's kind of prodigal what they're doing. So you have to have mad respect for them. So after that, we get a flashback of Kaido and King first meeting. It appears as though they were experimented on in the same facility by the Marines. I'm assuming this takes place sometime after God Valley. I crunched some numbers. King is about 47. At the time of God Valley, he was 9. So I'm guessing that for whatever reason, Kaido got sold out because he keeps talking about betrayal. It seems that either the rest of the Rocks pirates or Whitebeard or someone, betrayed him, and Kaido has that like that chip on his shoulder about being betrayed. I'm going to assume that he was put on for years because once again, King looked rather young, but not 9 old young. I want to say like in his like maybe 13, 14, something like that. So Kaido was probably experimenting on for quite some time. And while being experimented on, he was watching King and saw King being tortured and experimented on. I even had a joke that I wonder if, King's white hair is kind of like a Tokyo Ghoul kind of thing where it's from the torture and stress of torture and what. So we find out that his actual name is Arbor. It kind of reminds me of the Hispanic word and like honestly other derivative words for E. So I wonder if there's any relation to that. Um, but I really liked how they met and how like Kaido kind of reminds me of Luffy in this moment with his smile, with his laugh, and then how Luffy and Zoro met, where Zoro was to be executed, and then Luffy kind of saved him and took him with him. It was a similar situation with King where he's being tortured, and like Kaido's like, "There's nothing for you here. Serve more." He even gave the King. So that was really cool, and I can understand like King's devotion and loyalty to someone like Kaido, and he's probably witnessed a lot of Kaido's strength. Well, see him in handcuffs. I can only assume those are also sea stone handcuffs, so we know he had the power to escape from that. My question is, what took so long? How long was he there? And how did they subjugate? Anyway, King attacks Zoro, and Zoro says the flames are like magma, which I hope is foreshadowing Zoro's ability to handle heat of that degree and magnitude. Maybe he can clash with a Kainu. I'm kind of hoping that's a little bit of what it's alluding to. It indicates that Zoro's current hockey are at that are at a place where he can carry the likes of a Kainu or Admiral. Anyway, King tries to use his Karakuri blade once again to either break or get rid of Zoro's swords. With Zoro's like, fuck that. Does a couple backflips and then he loses with King. Comes dashing at him. But like I said earlier, Zoro has figured out King's fighting style. When King's back is ignited, his is buffed, is nigh impenetrable. However, when his fire is gone, he loses his speed increases exponentially, but he loses that insane durability, which Zoro uses to full advantage and slashes him as he charges him and hits him with, I believe, what is it called? Bird, and lands a bird dance, completely nailing King. King was not prepared for this at all. And from that point on, he completely has King on the back foot. So that was really dope. From there, King insults him, telling him that Zoro's kind doesn't have a chance. And that really honestly pisses Zoro off. He's like, that's the worst kind because there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of this race is better than that race. And, One Piece and the Straw Hats are all about fuck all of that. It's about ambition. It's about individuality. Stop saying person is king. This person is a god. Oh, your kind can't do this. You're beneath me. But we've seen this time and time again in this series, and it never comes to fruition. It's not about what race you are, how you were born, who you are. It's about what you make yourself and what you're with. And so that ticks off Zoro, and he even says he'll remember him as a swordsman. So obviously that pisses Zoro off even more. And then he goes further on to say that he'll scar him so bad he never forgets him. And boy, what did he fuck up. And I love that he said this because I absolutely love the irony, poetic justice of what happens next because King launches another Imperial Dragon. Zoro seems to use a new Conqueror's Hockey technique. And it's called King of Hell, 3 dragon style, 103 senses, soaring Jikoku dragon. And Jikoku, I think, is a play on words here because it's a high level of samurai uh, and something else, I forget. But the reason I love this moment is because Zoro cuts off a huge chunk of King's wing, which, by the way, I think this fight may also be done. I mean, obviously, he can still fly in his pterodactyl form because, as we saw, when he's in his pterodactyl form, he doesn't have his Lumerian wings and he flies with those. And he hasn't really flown so much with Lumerian wings. I feel like he has flown, but not as much. But anyway, has he flown? Very curious. But yeah, cuts off chunk, a huge chunk of King's. I don't know how King recovers from that. This seems like an actual blow. This seems like the end of the fight. Once again, I kind of want to see more from King. I don't have the same excuse I had for Queen. This was the first time we saw a named attack, and then see a random new attack from Zoro, and it kind of ends. Now, let me cut them some slack because at the end of the day, they have to be at least this strong, right? There are so many powerful players in all of One Piece, and the Pirate King's right hand men have to be at least Emerald level, right? You have to think about Marco earlier. Marco earlier was single handedly fighting both king and queen. And I feel like that's the level you have to be at in order to compete. And so for Zoro and Sanji to individually take on these guys, it kind of makes sense if you think about it from the perspective of Marco. And then you have, Riley, right? Who is able to strike fear in the hearts of someone like Kizaru, an actual Marine admiral who could probably wash someone like King, someone like Queen. So, as much as I'm kind of annoyed and perturbed about how fast things are progressing, and oh my god, they just kind of one shot. Technically, they didn't. This fight has been ongoing for like 20 chapters now. So it does make a lot of sense. I will say though, something I don't like is how they say that like he played a dragon. I forget exactly what the last panel said. I'll post it, but he says something along the lines of he slayed a dragon. He one shot, blah blah blah. This bothers me. It's kind of like how on Punk Hazard slayed that one dragon. Um, I don't know. This doesn't count for me. It wasn't a real dragon. It was a fire dragon manifest. That doesn't really count to me. The dragon on Punk Hazard doesn't really count to me. It was uh, robotic dragon. Now I didn't think like other people that he would cut down Kaido, but like I did want him to have his dragon slaying moment. So it is really really weird that this Oda's compensation to us of that. Like this is his dragon's moment in Wano. That's weird to me. I'll be honest, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, this was a condensed chapter. Maybe I'll do a follow up review, but for right now, I've hit on all the talking points I wanted to get to. Great chapter. Super excited. This is the honestly. This is the coming of age of the Straw Hat Pirates. I think from here we're going to see a completely. I don't want to say different crew, but in terms of respect, ability, power, yeah, they've really proved themselves. The bounties are going to come out. They're going to reflect their growth, and maybe this isn't the chapter where um they have new abilities and the people are able to keep up with them. Maybe now we're just told that they're on admiral level, and so when Zoro does use Ashura again, and when Sanji does use Ifrit again, and when Luffy does use whatever his new gear that he's about to reveal is, and his Ryu, conquers hockey again. You know, it's not just gonna be one shots. Like it's gonna be like his Doflamingo fight where he pulled out Gear 4, but didn't win the fight because like purely because he pulled out Gear 4. It was still a struggle. Those are the kind of fights I'm looking. Still waiting for Nami, uh, Chopper, uh, Top, Brook to get legitimate. Anyway, I'm gonna leave the review here for now. Once again, I just have to say it. If you follow me from my other channel, I appreciate you more than you could ever know. And if something comes out of this, I plan to make it up. I plan to start creating amazing content, putting a lot of time and effort in because this is something my band, even though it really depressed me and put me down, made me realize how important this is. My drive for this, that I'm not gonna give up. No, maybe this is a blessing. And the fuck no. So anyway, take care. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. Have a great day. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment for me to respond to. Let me know what you thought about this chapter. Let me know what you thought about all these fights. Were they too short? Were they just right? Do we have to get on with the arc? What do you think's gonna happen next? Do you think we're gonna get more background into King? Do you think we're gonna get more background into King? Shit, are we gonna learn more about Jack and how Jack joined? Are we gonna learn more about Kaido's betrayal? Are we gonna learn more about Joy Boy? There's just so much. Oh, what do we know about King's race? Like they've been saying King's race, King's race, King's race. I think it's more than just being a Lunarian at this point. I think it has those ties to the Sky Islands and the Candians, maybe the Birkins. So whew, have a great weekend. Take care.